Good Saturday morning, everybody. How is everybody doing? Britt says I'm awake. Bama Cat says good morning. Peas in a Pod wants a coin pusher badge. Oh shit, it's Sherry made it in. Dolores is in the house. And I'm so happy that you guys are here for Madalina. I really wish this case had more coverage. I think we're going to get there with it. I truly do. Good morning, Alibi. I know it's early on a Saturday morning, and I wanted to do this show on, Wednesday afternoon, Thursday. I thought about yesterday, but I didn't want to do it without a very special friend of mine and special guest. Let's take a second and tell everybody hello and give them a good Saturday morning wake up, and I'm going to bring up our very special guest. Well, if it isn't Kat from Cat's Chats Crime and Coffee, I am so glad you are here. Everybody, Kat didn't forget us. She's been busy and she is here. Thank goodness.
It's really good to be here.
Hello to Kat. Rexy said, hello, Kat. Dolores said, it's good to see you. She's back, everybody. Now, you have gotten off of YouTube a little bit, and you said because of the toxicity and stuff like that. And here I am dragging you back to the swamp. We are blessed.
I don't feel like you're the swamp, though. I kind of feel like this is the upper echelons of YouTube in my world. So I'm quite happy to be here. And it's really nice to be here and to see everyone and to speak to you, Brooks.
We've been chatting for about an hour.
I know, right? We had a lot to catch up on, though, eh?
And then you were like, oh, Brooks, it's 4 minutes till showtime. And I was like, oh, damn. I guess I better get on it.
And it was great to hear OJ's opinion on everything as well.
Yeah. OJ's quite a pill. What are you looking for, honey? Getting my husband situated. That's okay. Good morning, Sluggy. Sluggy says, Madalina holds a very special place in my heart. Yeah. Now, let me ask you guys. I should have put a poll up, but you know how well prepared I am on Saturdays. What do you think happened to Madalina? Do you think her mother truly has trafficked her, sold her for a big bag of money, like was reported over the week? Or do you think she is truly dead and buried in the mountains? What do you guys think happened? I'm going to start with Kat. She's in the hot seat.
Well, my personal opinion is that I feel like Madalina's still alive. I think she's been trafficked, either by one or both of her, the parents that she was living with, not that one of them's a biological parent. But yeah, I feel like, to me, I don't think that she's not alive anymore. I think she still is, and I think she's been trafficked either out of the state or out of the country. It still remains to be seen at this point, I think.
Is that all right?
Hang on one second. What, honey? Okay, getting our weekend situated. Thank you, honey.
Sending out gifts. CLL gifts.
Greg is going to the post office to send out CLL t-shirts.
Wow. Good work, Greg.
Thank you. Someone appreciates.
Greg said, thank you. Someone appreciates me. Well, Christina, not Madam Secretary, another one. said from the beginning, and she never says this in all the years we have, followed crime together. She has never said trafficking. And in this situation, right off the bat, she said, I think she was trafficked.
Yeah, I've got a feeling that she was as well. I think for a little while it kind of maybe crossed my mind that she wasn't, but yeah, the more that this has gone on, the more I feel like there's a lot of evidence pointing at trafficking. I guess it's just a question of the police have never really discussed whether they think that she met with foul play or whether, the police haven't really ever done that. And in every other case, they've almost indicated that they believe foul play or accident or whatever. In this case, they've never really committed to saying what they feel, but I think that they feel that it's trafficking as well. They seem to speak about it as if they know that she's still alive, kind of thing.
Well, the heavy presence of the FBI, which, don't get me wrong, when a child is missing, the FBI is involved.
Yeah.
But this had a different air to it. And let's not forget, Christopher Palmatier met Madalina's mother through a mail order situation.
Exactly. They already had a kind of form in that respect.
Yeah. And he flew to Moldova. Madalina was only 3 years old and proposed to Diana. Now, he's from Michigan, but he was living in Cornelius, North Carolina. He had a very good job as a designer for an engineering firm. Now, in March of 2020, I'm assuming from the pandemic, he was laid off and didn't go back to work.
Yeah.
And it seems like from there, things went awry and somebody needed money and still needs money because Christopher Palmatier and Diana Cojocari are still in jail.
Yeah.
And they have bonds, but they're not making it. They're still sitting there.
Yeah. That kind of made me question the whole bag of money thing. I know we'll probably get there. But if there was a bag of money, then surely that money would have bailed them out of jail. I don't know.
Well, and also it was reported that Diana went to an ATM and took out a large sum of money. Now, how much can you get from the ATM? I know everybody's bank is different. If you're going to get a large sum of money, you go to the bank, not the ATM.
Yeah, exactly. And you probably need to have a meeting with your bank manager or something to discuss the amount that you were going to be taking out or something.
And it would be the other way around. Diana would come home with a big bag of money, not give someone else the big bag of money. So that in itself doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Let's get to the comments from the video I put up earlier this week.
Brilliant.
Do you recognize that video?
I do. I do. I was just thinking how great it was.
Pratt made that about 2 years ago. We were going back and forth and talked about a comment section, and she made that video, and I've been using it ever since. So go Cat. Claire is vegan said, I still believe the mother is at the bottom of whatever has happened to her innocent daughter and is trying to throw blame at her husband. For some reason, I think the same. What do you think, Kat?
Yeah, I think since the beginning, when we heard that whole conversation about, are you hiding her? Are you hiding her? That whole conversation makes me think that she was trying to put the blame on him, from day one of it all coming out. The conversation that they reported, which sounded like they were looking for a missing remote control or a set of car keys or something. She seemed to be shifting every question back rhetorically onto him, in my opinion.
I thought it was very odd because to backtrack a little bit, and of course we'll go through it again, Madalina supposedly has been missing since before Thanksgiving, which is in November.
Yeah.
Christopher Palmatier went to Michigan alone. Okay. He came home and said, where's Madalina?
Mhm.
Diana said, "Where's Madalina?"
Mhm.
And they went back and forth. And he said, "Are you hiding her?" Now, Christopher saying, "Are you hiding her?" is what really got me going. Who would ask something like that? You just say,
Right.
"Where is she?"
Yeah. Where
And
is
then
she? When was the last time you saw her, even? But not, are you hiding her?
gotta be kidding me. These people are nuts. Absolutely crazy. Trinity says kudos to the law enforcement team, the FBI, and anyone involved in this investigation. When I see this little girl's face, what is wrong with her mother? There
Right.
is no money in the world worth the innocence and life of a child. No, there's not.
No, there's not. I think the reports that came out fairly soon after this all came out about how much happier Diana had looked since, Madalina had disappeared, and how her and Christopher were seen in public together looking all loved up and like their romance was a new kind of thing. And yeah, that you don't buy your happiness with your husband or partner by selling your child. What is that?
No, you don't. NC Mountain Girls said, "Oh my God, Brooks, this is the next county over from where I live.
Oh,
I
wow.
could get there in 30 minutes or less." Sugar Mountain is a popular ski resort here in North Carolina. It
Mhm.
draws a lot of tourists during the ski season, but also year round. This makes me sick to my stomach. How could someone do this, much less her parents?
Right.
I knew something didn't pass a smell test on this case with her parents, and to think she was basically in my backyard in December. It makes me shudder. Child
Wow.
predators are everywhere. I hope they find her alive. And in this case, I think they're going to find her alive.
Yeah. Yeah, I do too at this point, especially in the whole thing. I've got a feeling that they haven't moved to prosecute. I mean, her parents both in jail, or these two on the screen, whether you can call them her parents or not, are both in jail, but they haven't pressed any kind of further charges on them other than failing to report her as a missing child, which kind of makes me think that they're not pressing to do them for any more serious charge than like murder, because they haven't actually charged them with that, and they don't seem to be indicating that that's the way it's going either.
No, because by now, well, I say this, but I'm not an investigator. They would have already said, "We believe she's dead," and somebody would be charged with murder. The
Right.
only other charges that have come forth are Diana's from behind bars for drugs.
Right. Yeah,
And to
drugs in
me, that
prison.
fits in with what she did. If she needed money for drugs, then what's her biggest asset? Madalina. She already knows about trafficking because, well, she trafficked her damn self.
Yep. And her daughter, really, because she brought her with her to the United States.
You got that right. Absolutely disgusting. All right, this is the last sighting that we know of Madalina. Now, this is very haunting, but this is the last time that we know for certain, for sure,
Yep.
that Madalina was seen. There's been other sightings, and one for sure, December 16th of 2022, where the FBI is saying the physical characteristics match Madalina and her only other relative in the United States, blood relative, which I'm going to assume is Octavian.
Yep.
But this is what we know for sure was the last time she was seen, and this is getting off the school bus. It's very haunting to me. She's got her backpack on, kind of playing with her hair. Now, it goes without saying, she's a very pretty little girl.
Yeah.
It's also said that she's well-spoken. She's very intelligent. I don't know who's been keeping up with the Underground Railroad operation and The Sound of Freedom that came out in theaters. She would definitely be trafficable, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, sick as it is to think about it, like she wouldn't have known on that video, if that's what happened, that she wouldn't have known that that was the last day that she was ever going to be at school, you know, ever be going to school, and the last time she was going to be getting off that bus, because I don't think that she would have had any knowledge of what was about to happen, if that indeed is what happened at that point. It's just really hard to think about it.
Well, the other kids are getting off the bus just like a regular day. But she seems anxious. And that really upsets me, because it wouldn't be outside of the norm for Diana to have had this conversation with Madalina. Honestly.
Yeah.
Because all the other kids are just like, ho hum, not really paying attention, just getting off the bus. But she seems to have a little something on her mind. Maybe it's just me. Am I reaching too far?
I don't know. I mean, we can't really imagine what that conversation would have been, but even if, you know, just completely speculative, she could have said something to her like, oh, your uncle's coming over tonight and we're going to take you away somewhere, or, you know, it could have been anything like that she just wasn't 100% happy about. Because I did look at the first glance of that video when I first saw it, I did think that she looked quite kind of troubled, but then it's kind of hard to imagine that if she didn't know what was going to happen, why she would be looking that troubled, unless she was just naturally kind of an anxious child, I guess.
And that could be. I mean, that definitely could be. And I just think there was a lot going on in that house. Maybe she knew, since Christopher was getting ready to leave to go to Michigan, maybe she was worried that she would have to go. I don't know.
And it was coming up to Thanksgiving as well, wasn't it? So that was like the day before the schools finished for the Thanksgiving break, like, or weekend or whatever it was, Wednesday or something before the Thursday. So maybe she knew that Chris was going away, or there'd been some talk about taking Madalina. You know, we can't imagine, I guess, what was going on in the house at that time, because we don't really know what the outcome is yet for Madalina.
No, now supposedly there was a sighting of her in California, and a lot of people are really upset about this, because what I've been told is this woman is a social worker, and for some reason this story is not adding up for me. Okay,
doesn't add up for me either.
Because if you're a social worker, then you do not pass go, you do not collect $200, you call 911. You don't wait to get home
and then look up to see what missing children might fit the description of the one that you just left at a truck stop or wherever it was, going around asking people for lifts up north. But you're going to wait until you get home as a social worker to look up and see what children might match that description before you report it to the police. Yeah, okay.
So that I'm not buying. So there's got to be some part of this story I'm missing. You know, and then you look at missing children and then you call it in. So that I don't get. But now Cornelius police are saying that sighting was not her.
Yeah.
But they're not saying that the sighting in December,
where they said the physical match with the relative.
Right.
They're not saying that was unfounded or whatever. They said all the sightings that they've investigated so far have been unfounded. As in, well, to me, that meant the one in California for a start. But remember, early on, they said that they've been investigating in across several different countries, not only just the States, but across several different countries. They've spoken to people, so it's not. This extends further, I think, than just the confines of the United States, if you like.
Right. And I can't say that I know what I would do, because I don't pay a lot of attention. And sometimes, you know, hindsight's a bitch. So you get home and you start thinking, well, hang on, what if that child was? So when I could see that, but other than that, you know, there's just something not adding up. about it,
Well, as
especially
well, if the woman was a social worker, then she knows better than to do that. She could have called the police and stayed at the gas station, called the police from there and said, listen, there's a girl wandering around with a kitten and she's asking for a lift up north. She doesn't look very old. And then just at least waited there. She could see the girl was going around other cars. At least just waited there until the police arrived and then left them to it. But she didn't. And to me, that makes it kind of, another one of these stories that comes up in every single case where people are just wanting to jump on some bandwagon and make up some shit for their own, purposes, I guess.
And I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility at all that Madalina was trafficked and trafficked by her mother. And her stepfather will have to sit in jail for not reporting her missing.
Right.
I don't know what he was told. Did she go back to Moldova with her family? Did she go with her father? I don't know what Christopher was told, but I can't believe that he hasn't turned on Diana by now.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? It's like, what purpose is it serving? If it wasn't on him and he didn't actually do anything to contribute towards this whole thing, then why does he not just throw Diana under the bus and tell them everything? It would get him out of jail and actually might make sure that at least one person still had eyes out for Madalina, but he seems to be willing to just sit in jail for some reason. And I don't understand that if he's not involved.
That's all I can think of. Like when we were talking about teardrop and step meth in the Harvey Montgomery case, I said, well, the only reason Kayla's still sitting in jail is because she's it's because she's got a gift to give. She knows something and she can't say anything because she needs that for immunity, a proffer agreement, or something like that. And I think that's what Christopher's doing. Because if he honestly has nothing to do with it, he'd be bonded out, charges dropped, all done.
Exactly. And OJ thinks so too.
OJ's being a real pill today. What is wrong with you? He's looking at himself in the mirror.
He's very vain.
Who is that kitty? Who is that kitty? My goodness. All right. Like I said, the FBI has been heavily involved in this. They want tips called in to them. Of course, you can call it into Cornelius, North Carolina as well, but they're going to get it straight to the FBI.
Right.
Now, that definitely raised some flags with me from the beginning because they've had such a heavy presence in this. They also said to call the nearest embassy if you see it. Now, I know some people were like, Bricks, they say that all the time. No, they don't. No, they don't.
No, I don't think they do. And in actual fact, in all the other missing person cases that we followed, I don't think I've known another case where the FBI are this involved. They have their card unit and they might, like for example, in the Summer Wells case where they've said, oh, there's no evidence of an abduction. But this case seems to be the FBI seems to be at the center of investigating it, which to me is quite unusual.
And that tells me a lot. A lot. Because it's not just the State Bureau and it's not just Cornelius Police, but it's the FBI. Look at what they put out. You don't see this in many other cases.
No.
The Cornelius Police Department, the FBI, and the SBI are searching for 11-year-old Madalina Cojocari. The Cornelius Police Department, located in Cornelius, North Carolina, learned Madalina was missing on December 15th, 2022. Captain Jennifer Thompson explains.
Our school resource officer and the school counselor tried several times to contact Madalina's mother due to a high number of absences. After agreeing to bring Madalina to school, Diana Cojocari showed up alone, saying she didn't know where her daughter was and hadn't seen her since November 23rd.
Her mother, Diana, and her stepfather, Christopher Palmer, are both charged with failure to report the disappearance of a child to law enforcement. The investigation uncovered video of Madalina getting off the school bus on November the 21st. It's the last confirmed sighting of the sixth grader. Cornelius Police Captain Thompson.
Madalina is 4 feet, 10 inches tall and weighs 90 pounds. She has brown hair and brown eyes. In a missing child investigation, every second counts. Unfortunately, in this case, it was more than 3 weeks before our department was notified she was missing. Despite being hampered by the timeline, we are doing everything possible to find her.
If you have information to help the investigators, call the Cornelius Police Department at 704-892-7773 or 1-800-CALL-FBI.
1-800-CALL-FBI.
Mhm.
Now, does anyone, again, you know how my brain works. I see a lot of pictures of Madalina where she's holding her arms up in the air.
Right.
And I know some people were like, well, that's just how she's posing. This is very typical for traffickers. They want a full body picture. I know that sounds disgusting. I can get shut down by YouTube. I've been looking at a lot of this, and it's disgusting.
Yeah, I pointed that out quite early on. I think, why was she always standing with her arms in the air? I mean, there's people saying, well, teenagers these days always pout in pictures, or, there's quite a lot of other pictures of Madalina where she's wearing sunglasses, and that's not massively normal, I guess, for pictures to be taken wearing sunglasses. She's either got her arms up in the air or she's wearing sunglasses, and both of those things seem more like a sinister kind of indication rather than a natural thing that a child would do well, exactly, Lana. That's exactly what I was just thinking.
Yep, head to toe. They need it to advertise. Yep, that's what I've been reading too. And it's hard to even read these things. That this is what they do to advertise a child. And let's face it, if you're going to be taking a child around, they're going to have sunglasses on. They're not going to, she's not going to look like Madalina. By now, she's probably had her hair cut. She's probably lost weight. She's not wearing the same clothes. It's horrible. Well, her mother and stepfather have been arrested for failure to report her missing. They still sit in jail, and they've been in jail since December. This is July.
Yeah.
That tells us a lot.
Yeah.
Because nobody wants to sit in jail. Nobody. And I guess either they've made some friends and they're flourishing in there and they like it, or they can't talk.
What is the status in terms of the charges that they have got on them at the moment, but failing to report her missing? Would there be a trial for that, or will they just sit out the sort of length of that in the jail and then be released if there's no further charges brought?
There'll be a trial for this, and in the
Okay.
meantime, they can stack on other charges.
Do they have a date for that then?
No, I have
Okay.
not heard a date. Maybe Sluggy knows.
But then if they spend longer in jail, then they would be sentenced by the court for the offence that they have been charged with. Would that be a problem?
Say that again, it cut out a little bit.
So if they spend more time in jail for this, what they're in jail for now, then they would get sentenced for by the courts when it went to trial. Would that be a problem?
No, because there'll be separate charges.
Okay.
And it depends on how the judge rules.
Mhm.
It could be time served, or
Right.
it could be your sentence starts now.
Okay. That's fair enough. I just wondered, because I didn't think that, I mean, although it's an awful thing to not report someone missing, just that on its own as a cold, hard sort of charge on its own, I don't think would give them that long in jail. Certainly not long enough for what they think they might have done, but that's only going to be like a 6-month sentence or something, isn't it? If they get only that charge with that.
I've read up to 15 years, likely to serve 5
Oh, really?
for failure to report.
Wow. Okay.
So I don't know, but they are in jail. Christina has a question. What do we know about Octavian?
Mhm.
Last I heard, he lived in Florida.
Mhm. Yeah, he's her uncle or her cousin, her mum's cousin. He's related to her mum anyway, in some way, because he's a blood relative to Madalina, and obviously Christopher Parmiter isn't her real father. So she did have people in the United States that she's related to, the mother, Diana. And so it's as far as I know, Octavian is her, I want to say her uncle, but I don't know. Madalina's uncle, I mean. I don't know for certain.
I thought Octavian was Diana's brother, but
So that would be Madalina's uncle then. That's what I mean. Yeah,
Okay.
if it's Diana's
Well, he
brother.
says Octavian lives in Florida, so I was correct there.
Yeah.
Woohoo! One for me. He's Madalina's second cousin.
Right.
He lived with them in North Carolina at one point.
Right. Yeah, I'd heard cousin and I'd heard uncle, so I got a bit confused, but yeah.
Well, you know me, I believe everything I see on the internet. Elizabeth says, you lose your kid and don't report and get 5 years? Nope, not enough. And I agree.
Oh, I agree as well. I mean, I actually was told earlier on in the case that the sentence that they would get for that would be a lot less than that as well. I was told it was about a 6-month sentence. So I obviously got the wrong information at the time. But even 5 years doesn't even go halfway to what they should be getting for this.
No, and you don't report your child missing and they find out that the child is deceased, then it needs to be life in jail. Done. Over. Done. Over.
Well, there's only one reason why you don't report your child missing, and that's if you had something to do with it. Because if you didn't have anything to do with it and your child was missing, you'd be going hell to high water to find your child and make sure that everybody was looking for your child, not waiting 3 months to report her missing. It's crazy.
Especially with the circle jerk they were doing.
Right.
Have you seen Madalina? No.
Right.
Have you? No, have you?
Are you hiding her? Are you
hiding her? Have you seen her? No, I haven't seen her. So this is from when Christopher and Diana were arrested.
Tonight, we do start with some breaking news. The mother and step-parent of a missing 11-year-old girl from Cornelius are now in police custody. The arrest happening early this morning. Police say they arrested Christopher Palmer and Diana Cojocari for failure to report the disappearance of Madalina Cojocari to law enforcement. WCNC Charlotte's Austin Walker joining us now from Cornelius after speaking with neighbors. And Austin, you tell us what we know so far.
Yes, we know her stepfather was arrested earlier today and just confirmed by CPD. Her mother was also taken into custody as well. Neighbors saw that happen just after 10 this morning. Now, this neighborhood is pretty much very quiet, neighbors say, but in the last 24 hours, it's been...
And it's a very nice town.
Yeah.
Very nice home. Very nice neighborhood. Now, for those of you that have been following the case, thank you so much, because Madalina needs an army. She needs an army. But at one point, they were burning a couch in the backyard.
Yeah, that was during the time when she was missing, wasn't it? They had a constant fire going, according to the neighbours, in the backyard.
And that has never set right with me. Now, obviously, Madalina wasn't in that fire, or this would already be solved.
Anything but that. Neighbors say Cornelius PD was at the house all last night trying to figure out exactly what happened to that missing girl. Also, neighbors say that they've been questioned by the FBI, trying to put those puzzle pieces together as well. Since being here for about a couple of hours, we've also seen police cars driving through the area. One of the neighbors who didn't want to be on camera also says the family pretty much kept themselves for all this, trying to make sense of exactly what happened.
Yesterday, there was all the commotion we had. There must have been, 40, people out there, investigators and going in to do searches of the home. It's very concerning that something like this could happen, that it was so close to us. I hope that, she's run away or something and comes back. But, it's, all you can do is hope and pray.
So Cojocari's parents originally reported her missing to her middle school's resource officer, and they say they last saw her at home on November 23rd. So if you know anything that could lead to any information to find her, to get her home safely, please reach out to Cornelius PD.
Or the FBI. Elizabeth said, I was going to go to court, but they didn't show. I will go next time if it's open. Yeah, this is sick. Nicole said, traveling to Michigan, going to put flyers up from South Carolina to Michigan. Thank you so much, because she could be anywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. If the FBI are involved, then she's at least could be federal. anywhere in the States.
Anywhere. And the FBI is up to their eyeballs in this. Pam says, has the home been searched? Several times.
Yeah. Well, there was
Several
the documents that were released had details about some of the items that the warrant covered in that in one of the searches. And it was everything that Christopher Parmenter had ever written on. So it was everything from like notebooks, journals, down to like napkins, toilet roll, like anything that Christopher Parmenter's handwriting was on, they subpoenaed for the warrant in one of the searches, which made me think like they seemed quite interested in what he'd been writing. It's quite interesting to me anyway.
I think it's very interesting. I think to sound like Jennifer Coffindaffer, those are clues.
No shit, Sherlock. Wow.
The idiot of the week. She got the first prize. She was talking about the Long Island serial killer. And she's like, hazmat suits. They took out a refrigerator. These are clues. And I'm like,
I'm quite surprised she wasn't on standby with an FBI issued refrigerator replacement service. Like they always bring a spare refrigerator when they remove one.
Yeah, she did that during Herman Montgomery. She's like,
yeah.
Oh, she sounded like an appliance salesman from Home Depot. She's like, well, when the FBI takes a refrigerator, they have to replace it. I'm
right.
Like, not what we're worried about.
As soon as I heard that with the Long Island serial killer, that there was a refrigerator removed, I was like, oh no, Jennifer Coffindaffer's going to be calling the FBI refrigerator replacement service immediately.
And I got blocked from her Twitter because I said, will it have water in the door? And I got blocked.
Was there an egg compartment?
You're concerned about the refrigerator. You're not concerned about the biological evidence that came out of the one they took out of the damn apartment.
Right.
You're talking about what they replaced it with. I don't think anyone cares about that.
She's so random.
So I believe this is a clue. Okay.
Okay. We're looking at clues now. We're doing deep dives into clues.
Deep dive. I believe this is a clue. Okay. No, there's no hazmat suit or refrigerator, but Diana got in trouble in jail, go figure, for drugs.
Right.
Do you think it would be out of the realm of possibility that Madalina was sold because of Diana's drug habit?
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like it could be a possibility to me.
Yep.
All right.
Yes, she's there. It looks like.
All right, so we'll switch back to the other pod real quick.
Yeah, less, you know.
All right.
Can you bring my chair, please?
Good morning. Are you Miss Cojocari?
Yeah, Diana.
Miss Cojocari, you have been accused.
Okay, now in the beginning, she tried to play the I don't understand. I'm not from this country. Blah, 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 blah. But every time she has been on the webcam, she speaks fluent English.
Yeah.
She understood her rights right off the bat. Her English is better than mine. Okay.
Yeah, she knew what public defender was, didn't she? When they asked her if she wanted a public defender, and she was like, public defender.
Yeah.
She knew what that meant.
And she's as greasy as Letitia.
Aye.
What is up with these heinous women and their oily scalps?
Because they're trying to get laid in jail, I guess.
I can't figure it out. They all have dead eyes and oily scalps.
Accused of felony possession of a controlled substance while in the jail. Looks like you have a bond for that of $5,000. You're being held on another matter. I don't know. Do you have a lawyer on your other matter, ma'am?
I have a lawyer.
I'm sorry?
I do.
All right. Was that a retained or appointed lawyer?
It's Ms. Wiegand, Your Honor.
Ms. Wiegand. All right. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. I imagine the public defender will assign this to Ms. Wiegand as well. On this matter, you have a bond hearing scheduled for April the 26th. In courtroom 1150 at 1:30 in the afternoon, and a probable cause date scheduled for May the, is that 11th? DA?
That would be too late.
May the 1st? April 26th. Looks like May the 1st. You want to look at it and tell me, do you mind? May the 1st, at court 1:30 in the afternoon. So I've appointed a lawyer. You got your bond hearing. Do you have any questions, ma'am?
Your Honor, if I could prevent Ms. Wiegand from yelling at me, can we get just a brief summary of what happened?
Yes, that's fine.
Who is she worried about yelling at her?
The lawyer,
Oh,
Miss
well,
Wigan, Miss Wigan, the one that he just said that would appoint the public defender. I don't know why she would be shouting at her though.
I don't know. She's not the one that was doing drugs in the pokey.
Right.
Here's a small clear plastic bag containing white powder was found in her shirt pocket. The contents of the plastic bag were taken to arrest progress and tested using a kit out there. It tested immediately positive for cocaine and the fentanyl-based substance.
A fentanyl-based substance. Okay. So here is another what they call QAnon conspiracy theory. Okay.
Okay.
There's no such thing as trafficking, and the fent thing is not a big deal. Well, it must be. There is someone in our community that recently her daughter died of it.
Right.
Our friend Kevin B., who's been on panel many times, his daughter died of it.
Yeah.
That's two people that we know.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't know that many damn people.
Nope. And the fact that it's obviously quite easy to get in jail is also quite troubling. I mean, I know that drugs, probably are more available in jails than they are on the streets, but what the hell?
God.
Ms. O'Connor?
That's fine. I just want to be able to give Ms. Wiegand.
All right. Ms. Terry, you have any questions before we move on?
I don't have questions. I just found that bag in the showers 5 days before.
Yeah, of course you did, love.
I don't have any questions. I just found that bag in the shower.
Yeah,
Really?
like everyone does.
Really? Kind of like Kathy leaving those baggies around.
Right.
With flyers and Christian keychains of Summer Wells. You just happened to come across a bag. Was Kathy in the shower?
Yeah.
Was Kathy the friend in the shower?
Yeah. Everyone leaves their drugs laying around in jail, don't they? Like in the showers or in the kitchen or wherever, really. Just like, in the corner of your cell. It's easy to pick up just a little baggie in it and put it in your pocket and forget about it for 5 days. Not know what it is, Your Honor.
Yeah, listen to her stupid excuse again. I don't have questions, but I just found that bag in the shower.
I don't have questions. I just found that bag in the showers 5 days before.
All right. Found it
sure
5
you
days
did.
before in the shower. It's fine. All right. All right. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you.
The judge ain't buying that shit either, is he? He's like, yeah, there you go. Found it in the showers, whatever. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, so why didn't you put it in your greasy hair?
Right.
You
Right.
find a bag in the shower and you just take it to your cell with you and you just take what's in the bag? I
Yeah.
don't think so.
No, I don't either. Considering you don't even know if you really genuinely found it, you wouldn't even know what the fuck it was. Why would you be taking it? And why would it be in your shirt pocket? The whole thing. She's such a fucking
Oh no. Tabitha said if I had a nickel for every time I found a random substance in the shower. Yeah. I wouldn't even have a penny. No.
Right.
When I get in the shower, all I find is my hair.
And your cat.
And my cat. That's it. That's it. Hang on, Greg. Greg wants to tell everybody a joke. Come on, Greg.
Oh, I get to tell my dad joke?
Yeah, come on, tell your dad joke. I guess we need a new segment for Saturdays. You're going to have to lean into the microphone, Greg.
Okay, hold on 1 second. Let me remember it. What do you call a detective that solves all of his cases accidentally? Anyone?
What do you call a detective that solves all of his cases
Accidentally. Sherlock Holmes.
Sherlock Holmes. Woo! Greg's dad joke of the day.
He's here all night, folks.
For Greg. Back off, ladies. He's all mine. I say it all the time. I actually was really laughing at that joke. I said, Greg, you have to tell everybody the joke. Sitting there going, is it time for me to tell my joke?
I'm thinking that it's going to require a new intro video, isn't it? Greg's joke of the Saturday.
Yes. I have a feeling you're going to have to get on that, Kat.
I feel like I might.
Speaking of Kat, she has done amazing work with Madalina's case. Now, let me tell you what, I love her videos. If I could find a way to take credit for them and steal them from her, I would. I really wouldn't do that. Everybody knows my work, okay?
Bless you.
Christina said, what's the word of the day? We're going to have to find one. All right, look at this from Cats, Chats, Crime, and Coffee.
Good morning, everyone. This is Kat. Welcome back to my channel. If it's your first time here, please do ring the bell and subscribe for all my future content. Today I'm going to be bringing an update on missing Madalina Cojocari. She's 11 years old, and the last time she was seen by anyone other than her family was as she got off her school bus on November the 21st, 2022, just before the Thanksgiving break. Her mother, Diana Cojocari, and her stepfather, Christopher Palmer, are currently in jail, charged with failing to report Madalina as missing, which didn't happen until a school official called Diana to produce Madalina at a meeting 3 weeks later. However, Madalina did not attend with her mother, and the school alerted police to her disappearance. A huge search involving the FBI and other agencies got underway. Both parents have remained tight-lipped in jail, and an ongoing investigation into the whereabouts of Madalina remains active and fast-moving. So yesterday we saw posts on the Cornelius Police Department as well as a Madison County Sheriff page asking for more information as to the whereabouts of Diana Cojocari during the time period in which Madalina has been missing. We have been told previously that Christopher Palmer took off to Michigan on the eve of Thanksgiving following an argument with Diana to recover some items. But the information authorities are seeking at this point pertains to Madalina's mother. Now, the poster that was released yesterday was interesting because it not only included pictures of Diana and Madalina, but also this vehicle, a Toyota Prius, which police want first-hand information on if it was seen in Madison County between November 22nd, 2022 and December 15th, 2022. So after much discussion and speculation, the news station WSOC was able to determine that the reason police want more information for that time period is because Diana was seen in a pull-off area in the Lonesome Mountains of Madison County.
She also had her oil changed, and the man that changed the oil said there was children's toys in the car. Now, I don't know what kind of toys Madalina at her age would have, but no Madalina.
I was interested to know like how far this Lonesome Mountain is from Sugar Mountain, because that's the next mountain that we've heard about in this case. Does anyone know?
We have quite a few North Carolina people here. Does anybody know how far Lonesome Mountain is from Sugar Mountain? Greg, do you know? You were just over there. He said it's about 45 minutes.
So fairly close then compared to where they live, well, where Madalina lived, to Lonesome Mountain, which is where her mother was seen. And now there's Sugar Mountain, where they've said that there's a possible identification of a man that looks like her relative and Madalina in a security video or whatever. Those two things are only like 45 minutes apart. It's all within the same kind of time frame and within a similar kind of area.
Miles, yeah. So it's more than 45 minutes. I thought it was about 45.
Slim says Google said it's about 80 miles from each other.
Okay.
I was close.
Greg said I was close.
Oh, yeah.
5 minutes to an hour. Yeah, I was right.
No, you were right. 45 minutes to an hour. Yeah.
Yeah. Within that time frame as well, I've just found that quite interesting, even though the sighting hasn't been confirmed on December the 16th, of the physical blood relative and Madalina, it's still within that area and within a similar time period of time to when Madalina's mother was seen in and around that area.
I think it's, you know how I feel about coincidence. It's one thing if you
Mhm.
run into somebody at a restaurant after church.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, people go eat after church. But in cases like this, any of them, coincidence is evidence.
Right, exactly.
And so for her to be on Lonesome Mountain
Mhm.
or Sugar Mountain, acting happy as a clam, probably because she got a hold of some drugs,
Mhm.
not reporting Madalina missing, to me, call me Jennifer Coffindaffer. This is a clue.
A clue.
This is a clue.
North Carolina, and was spoken to by a police deputy.
Well, Scott, we're finding out from some law enforcement sources here that she was spotted at a pull-off area about 10 miles west of Marshall. That's when a sheriff deputy stopped to check on her. We're also finding out from folks who live in that area that both SBI agents and Cornelius police have been out there twice over the last 10 days, even going door to door, knocking on doors, showing folks out in that area pictures of Madalina and her mother.
The police wouldn't tell the news station the exact date Diana was seen there, but they have now confirmed that they are searching and canvassing the area, which is approximately 3 hours away from Madalina's home. At some point in the near future, we're also expecting some of the search warrant details in the case to be unsealed. Some of this information is already public knowledge, and some of it may be redacted to protect the investigation. The police have asked for everyone to continue to share Madalina's missing flyer and the flyer that they posted yesterday. If you have any information that could help in this case, or if you have any information on the whereabouts of Madalina Cojocari, call the FBI 1-800-CALL-FBI. Thank you.
Great job. I love your videos and I hope you get back to it. I know you've been super busy and I know you've got some time off, you know, now from school and all your other stuff.
I do, but I thought I might just hang out on your channel instead.
Works for me.
Cool.
Works for me. Yeah. Greg says she's going to come hang out on Saturdays. Works for me. Kat made the thumbnail. You guys see my avatar and you see Kat made all of that. She is a huge part of this channel and we just love her. So now what came out in the last week with this 190 pages? Now some were just repeats of the probable cause and stuff like that. But the recorded phone calls, they had a criminal informant in the cell with Christopher, recorded phone calls about a big bag of money. Now, I wouldn't think that these two would honestly want people to think that they trafficked Madalina unless they're just trying to escape a homicide charge.
Maybe. It's one of those things though, because on the phone call that she made to her mother from jail, she was talking about the big bag of money. And on the phone call that he made, he was talking about her having money. So it's kind of like that whole conversation. Are you hiding her? Are you hiding her? Chris had a bag of money. Diana had a bag of money. Like they're both kind of pushing it back onto each other again.
Well, see, and that's what I was thinking. Are they turning on each other a little at a time? What are they doing?
They both seem to be blaming each other, and neither of them are actually, well, we don't know who's telling the truth, I guess.
So it's who's lying the least.
Right. Basically.
Or as Coffin Dapper says,
a clue.
These are clues. Today we have 2 words of the day before we get to our most recent update. It's actually 2 words of the day.
What's today's secret word?
Ooh, interesting question. Let's go and ask Cocky.
Worthless bitches. Because it's YouTube, I had to put bitch. Worthless.
Mm-hmm.
I am so sick of these damn women. I can't deal with them. I cannot deal with them, and I can't deal with the people that take up for them. Look at this video with me. It's going to knock your socks off. I'm a real Oliver Stone. Tell me what you see. What do all these women have in common? Dead eyes and greasy scalps.
They're all worthless bitches.
Worthless bitches.
Honestly, those eyes of every single one of them, if they could look at someone, then their looks would kill them. Like the look in their eye would kill you straight away. They're just evil.
Worthless. All right, this is the latest update.
Mm-hmm.
More details surrounding the disappearance of 12-year-old Madalina Cojocari. The Mecklenburg County court system releasing newly unsealed documents that could provide more clues into what happened to Madalina. It's been nearly 8 months since the Cornelius girl was last seen publicly getting off of a school bus. Both Madalina's mother, Diana Cojocari, this was actually the last video of her seen publicly, but her mother, Diana Cojocari, and her stepfather, Christopher Palmer, they have been arrested and they've been in jail since December for failing to report her disappearance. WCNC Charlotte's Jesse Pierre live in Uptown. So Jesse, after combing through dozens of search warrants, what can you tell us? Did this reveal anything that will help us, I'm hoping, get closer to finding Madalina?
Okay, I have to interrupt real quick because I have to do my commentary or YouTube will strike me and everybody likes to hear me talk, right?
Absolutely.
Question for people that are in the North Carolina area. Do you see a lot of billboards, flyers, local coverage about Madalina's disappearance? Because my husband was in North Carolina a couple weeks ago and I asked him, I said, do you see anything on I-40? And he said, no, he's not seeing anything.
Wow.
I really hope more creators pick up on Madalina and start covering it, and Michael Vaughn, and start covering it a lot more.
But really want to just add to that the decent creators, I hope they do. I hope none of these waste of time creators do, because the kids deserve better. The victims deserve better than some of the stuff. I'm not talking about your channel at all, but some of the channels that put stuff out about these children don't even deserve to have channels. It's not good for the kids. It's not good for the victims. So I hope the decent ones do.
Well, I mean, when people don't even know what they're talking about.
Right.
Or they grab a comment and say, is this true? Don't put that out there in the universe.
Right, exactly.
If you don't know, shut up.
Right, exactly. Way to cause a lot of speculation and a lot more hurt for the actual victims.
Yeah.
Well, it definitely revealed several new details. You know, we're talking about 200 pages of documents, and there are several things that stick out. We're talking about recorded phone conversations in jail, finance records looked into, as well as evidence seized from the home, and details on when Madalina was last with her mother. There were also conversations surrounding the idea that Madalina was given away for money.
Not given away for money, sold for money.
Sift through every piece of evidence.
You don't give anything away for money. It's a bartering system. Okay?
Exactly.
Like when I have a garage sale. All right. Someone gives me $1, then they get what I'm selling.
Exactly. I can't believe that even the news stations are saying given away for money. That is not a thing. That doesn't happen. And it definitely shouldn't be used in terms of terminology when it comes to selling a child, a human being.
A human being. And I'm so glad you picked up on that. And I'm so glad you said that, my friend, because the current climate, not just America, but worldwide, the way that children are looked at, they're almost like pets.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't like it.
Or house plants.
Yeah, house plants. Yeah. I mean, come on. This is ridiculous. We're going to talk about Sound of Freedom here in a second. I'm not going to get on my soapbox for too long. But the amount of people saying, this is not true. This is not a real problem. Well, hell, it's not.
Yeah, they like to live comfortably in their nice little bubble where nothing bad ever happens, and they can just look at the world through rose-tinted glasses, and it keeps them in this real sad sack of denial that they've become kind of coddled in. Heaven forbid that anything happens that's outside their realm of comprehension,
My husband is a part of, he's a truck driver, and they have a lot of training. It's called Truckers Against Trafficking.
Yeah.
Well, I saw a story, it's been several months ago, and I shared it. I'll find it again, that this truck driver pulled into a rest area, went to stretch his legs or whatever, and he saw something that he thought was odd. Okay. So it was a minivan and had a bunch of kids in it, and they were all about the same age. So, but just something was very off about the kids. And let me tell you, I get it that people want to mind their own business, but he had been trained for signs to look for.
Yeah.
So he called the highway patrol, and guess what? Those children were being trafficked.
Wow.
So good for him.
Absolutely. What a horrible thing to see, but what an amazing thing to do, because you see something, you say something. How many times have we said that in every single case? And thank the Lord that he did actually have the wherewithal to think about it in that way and to get those kids the help that they needed.
And to me, he is a hero. And there was actually a $5,000 reward from the FBI, because the FBI is kind of cheapskates. He gave that $5,000 to Tim, who runs the Underground Railroad operation.
Yeah.
To help with stopping this.
Wow. What a guy. Amazing.
The deniers make me sick.
And hopefully it leads you to something that leads you to something else, and so you can conclude what happened to the child.
Where is Madalina Cojocari? That is the question. The Cornelius girl was last seen leaving the school bus on November 21st, but it took weeks before her parents reported her missing. Here's what we can add to the timeline after several search warrants were unsealed. In a text message on December 2nd, Madalina's mother, Diana Cojocari, indicated that she was with her daughter. The next day, December 3rd, Diana was seen at a service station in Hickory, getting an oil change. The attendant told police there were children's toys in the car, but did not see a child around. On December 4th, Diana traveled towards North Carolina mountains, claiming to be searching for Madalina. And on December 16, Sugar Mountain Police Department provided surveillance photos.
She said she was searching for Madalina in the North Carolina mountains. Why the hell would you go to the mountains to look for your daughter? She's not 25. She didn't go on a ski trip.
Well, and also it doesn't make sense, because when he came home from Michigan, Chris, back to North Carolina, was the day after Thanksgiving, which was in November. And Diana said she was with Madalina on December the 2nd, after Thanksgiving, searching for Madalina on December the 4th. But Madalina was missing when Chris came back from Michigan on whatever day Thanksgiving was last year, the day after. Well before December the 2nd.
Well before.
And then she was in the mountains on December the 4th, and then was seen on the mountains on December the 16th. This timeline is messed up. This is obviously the information that they have given in the investigation to the FBI, rather than actual facts that were found out during the investigation and clarified, because this timeline doesn't make sense.
Candace Wells could write a better
Right.
script.
Right.
Okay. When the people that should know can't put their time
Right.
together.
Exactly.
Okay. Like Brandy Neal and Tyler Vaughn, they're still catching hell. And I
Yeah.
hope and these people are going to start getting sued. As you
Yeah,
know, Critical K got a $500,000 judgment against her for what she said about Ray Andrecchio. People need
$500,000.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So Brandy and Tyler have always had the exact same story.
Yep.
But now you have Madalina's mother, Candace. Of course, we know about Teardrop. I went to the mountains to search for Madalina. What? Why would you go to the mountains to look for Madalina and you stopped to get an oil change? How big of a hurry were you to go find Madalina when you took time to get your oil changed?
Yeah.
Who would think about an oil change when your daughter's missing?
Yep. And also Madalina wasn't with her on December the 3rd because the person that changed the oil said there was toys in the car, but there was no child in the car. And also we know, was it the 25th of November, I want to say, is the day after Thanksgiving. I might be wrong. But from the 25th of November, we know she wasn't with them because he came home and Madalina wasn't there. And they had that whole conversation about, where is she? I don't know. Where is she? Are you hiding her? Are you hiding her? That was all on the 25th of November that took place. Which is a hell of a long time before the 2nd, 3rd and 4th of December.
It's changed several times because the last day of school was the 22nd. That's when we see the school bus.
Yeah.
The 24th was Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
The 25th, he came home on the 27th from Michigan.
Oh, okay. Okay, so the 27th, he came home and Madalina was already, according to them, already missing because Diana asked him where she was and he asked Diana where she was on November the 27th. And now, December the 2nd, Diana with Madalina. Obviously, yes. She wasn't, because she wasn't with them from at least the 27th of November onwards.
Exactly. December 2nd was a Friday, and it says that Diana was with Madalina. Then on the 4th, which would have been a Sunday, she goes to the mountains after, with her oil change and everything. She did the oil change in Hickory on the 3rd. And then she goes to the mountains on the 4th to try to find her. Okay, and all of this is going on, and people are giving the school a lot of but the school, there's only so much they can do. If someone says she's sick, finally they have to say, well, we're going to see a doctor's note.
Right. And it's not on the school. The school did whatever they could at the key points in which they could do it. So they waited the set amount of time that a child can have off school before they contacted her. She's fed them some story. Yeah, I'll bring Madalina in on this date. And then she turned up for that meeting without Madalina. And at that point was when it was reported. It's not the school's fault that she wasn't, that she'd been trafficked or hurt or whatever. In the meantime, they did what they could based on the dates that they were given, that they had to do something. They did what they had to do.
Everybody gets blamed except for the one
who
did it. And it drives me insane.
Absolutely. Me too.
Makes me crazy.
Yeah.
All right. So the 2nd, Diana says Madalina's with her. The 4th, Diana takes a selfie. Thank you for that, Diana. Looking in the mountains for Madalina. On the 16th, surveillance images physically consistent with Madalina. Now, that's not a Facebook rumor. That comes from law enforcement.
Yeah, that was on the unsealed documents, wasn't it?
Yep.
Photos of a man and a young girl. The man's images were physically consistent with the appearance of a family member of Diana, the only blood relative known to live in the U.S., and the young girl appeared to be Madalina.
I think that's the biggest thing, and I would certainly be interviewing that person, looking for other camera video of who he was with that day.
The search warrants also revealed more details from recorded phone calls in jail. Diana discussed a bag of money with her mother, cash withdrawals, and she also told her mother she believed her husband, Madalina's stepfather, Christopher Palmer, gave Madalina away for money.
Of course she's going to say that. He wasn't home unless this was prearranged before he left.
Yeah. Yeah, and he pretty much says exactly the same thing about her on his phone call as well. And it's like, well, this is the similar situation to what we had right back at the start where they were asking each other where Madalina was.
Now, Daisy and Miss Christine 5555555, they would say that's just Chris being silly.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's plenty of time for suspects to be silly, isn't there? In, missing child investigations. Fuck's sake.
When Don said that the FBI came to see him in jail to ask if he had sold Summer, they were like, oh, that's just Don being silly.
Yeah, something, really to laugh about, isn't it, when your child's missing?
What a funny joke.
All right.
Recorded conversations between Palmer, his brother, and his sister-in-law. He mentioned that Diana had a lot of cash with her, and he did not know where it came from. He also shared some concerns about financial stuff coming up. Law enforcement.
Financial stuff coming up, like getting out of jail.
Right.
And I want to know where Diana got all that money too, considering she doesn't work.
Right, exactly.
She's a Mary Kay consultant, but it's not like she has a pink Cadillac. Okay? She's not peddling the lipstick like others do. So where did she get all the cash, Chris?
Well, she thinks he got the money from selling Madalina.
Well, then
she thinks he got that money from selling Madalina, and he thinks she got the money, but it doesn't know where it came from.
Why doesn't he take a page out of Stepneff's book, get a good old proffer agreement,
right,
turn on Diana, and be done with it?
Exactly, because if, like we were saying earlier, if he really had nothing to do with it, that would be his get out of jail free card, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which makes me feel like he did have something to do with it, and they know he had something to do with it, but they just aren't putting that out there.
Financial stuff coming up. Law enforcement expert Dr. Roy Taylor says all inmates do know their communications are monitored.
I don't know if it's a effort on both their parts to deny their involvement, and they are both involved, or one's telling the truth and one isn't. And again, it's just going to be a matter of time and looking at the financial records.
Now, banking and credit card documents were also seized. Police looking into any patterns or activity that may link back to Madalina's disappearance. Now, we also learned that the stepfather was housed with an informant in jail. We'll have more on that coming up at 6.
Wow.
And he was, and I love that move that they made. So they put an informant in the cell with him.
Wow. Must have missed that.
That's trained on how to get information out of him.
Wow. So he's been talking.
He's been talking. The best thing for Chris to do is tell him everything he knows about Diana. They're going to get all the credit card information. They're going to get the financials, but cash is cash, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
They're going to figure this out, and he's just going to have to serve his time for not reporting Madalina missing. And Diana, let me tell you what, if you guys remember the story out of Alabama, Call Marie Holland, her mother trafficked her. Her mother trafficked her.
Yeah.
For drugs. This guy, in his words, went too far with Call Marie, and she died. Right. Okay. Not only is the mother going down for trafficking, she's going down for her murder.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this trafficking stuff is real. It is real. You're on it, Greg? What are you doing? You're in your chair. You're sitting in your recliner. You're drinking coffee. Okay. Can we have a round of applause for Greg? He's sitting in his recliner and he says, I'm on it.
Well done, Greg. You're gonna sort this one out. I've got a feeling.
Yeah, Greg's on it. Well, I tell you who else is on it. If you guys have seen the movie Sound of Freedom, it's sold out here and it's only playing after 4:00. Some theaters will not play it, and there are people saying this is QAnon right-wing propaganda. It's a true story, and it's continuing. This man's mission is not over yet. Is it playing in your area, Kat?
I'm not sure, actually. I think the Barbie movie and Oppenheimer are quite big here. I don't think The Sound of Freedom's out here yet.
Hell no.
The Barbie movie?
Yeah.
Well, I don't think that they were expecting this to be such a hit, but it's too real. So go through this with me. First of all, I'm going to show this. This is Madalina's aunt.
Uh-huh.
This is hard to see. Let me get my glasses on.
This is Chris's sister, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
She said, we watched the movie The Sound of Freedom last night. I felt so much anxiety getting ready to go to this movie. Anxiety, Madalina's aunt. Anxiety because the movie is about the huge prevalence of human trafficking in our world. It's all around us. I felt anxiety because I believe this is the most terrifying possibility of what may have happened to my niece, Madalina, who still sadly has not been found. It's terrifying that this is one of the fastest growing industries, in quotes, and babies, children, and adults are commodities to be bought, sold, and used over and over again. I pray that this is not what happened to Madalina, but the thought is horrifying. Please, if Madalina is out there, then sharing her beautiful face with the posters and flyers may help to bring her to safety. 8 months missing, we will not stop. The only thing that can bring peace or justice is for Madalina to be found.
Absolutely.
Now, also, this was several months ago. They have hundreds of agents working, 250 leads across the globe. They've interviewed hundreds of people across the globe.
Yep.
They've been door to door to 245 homes and have hours of video. What's it sound like to you, my friends?
Sounds like trafficking to me.
Let's look at this.
Is a former federal agent on a mission to end human trafficking around the world. His Operation Underground Railroad has helped to rescue 6,000 survivors and arrest more than 5,000 perpetrators. Jim Caviezel stars in Sound of Freedom, the new movie about Tim Ballard's real life. Ephraim Graham sat down with Ballard for a closer look at the true story behind the movie.
We intentionally go to the darkest corners of the earth where there is no hope and find these kids.
Cameras capture some of Tim Ballard's real-life missions to rescue children from sex trafficking. And now there's an even bigger light shining in the darkness.
It is the fastest growing international crime network that the world has ever seen. It has already passed the illegal arms trade, and soon it's going to pass the drug trade. Because you can sell a bag of cocaine one time to a child 5 to 10 times a day. God's children are not for sale.
The Sound of Freedom, starring Jim Caviezel.
Rescató niños, ¿verdad? Puedes ayudarme a encontrar a mi hermana.
Te lo prometo.
Jim Caviezel portrays you in the film. Your thoughts seeing him on screen as you for the first time?
Well, it's really bizarre, first of all, to watch it. But Jim is a special case because I never thought this movie was going to be made, because from concept to screen, I think I read 5% make it to the big screen.
Yeah.
A few years into their endeavor, I remember they showed up in, I believe it was December of 2017, and they said, hey, we're going to film this summer, and we need to pick someone to play you, which I never let my mind go to that place, because that's a strange question. Right out of the gate, I knew who I wanted. So well, if this is a real question, the answer is Jim Caviezel. And I was so adamant. And I said to them, look, I don't like Hollywood. I don't trust Hollywood. I don't know these actors.
Well, and that's part of the problem. He's like, I don't like Hollywood. I don't trust Hollywood. Hollywood is Holly Weird, I call it, are the ones saying this is propaganda. This is QAnon. First of all, there's a difference between Q and Anon. Okay. These people don't even know what they're talking about. This is all MAGA people. These are people that have been trying to ban Bud Light. Are you kidding me? Holly Weird has been doing nasty stuff for decades.
Right.
They are part of the problem.
Mm-hmm.
So you have an independent film because Paramount didn't want it. You know, Disney doesn't want anything. Holly Weird is full of pedos.
Mm-hmm.
Full of them.
Well, and also the similar kind of people that are saying that pedos have a mental illness, right? The same people that are trying to classify pedophilia as a mental illness.
Yeah. Yeah. They're trying to classify it as a mental illness. Yeah. It was actually said by a senator, not a U.S. senator, a state senator in California, that while there are some men that are attracted to other men, women that are only attracted to women, of course, they don't talk about, women that are attracted to men or men that are attracted to women. There are people that are attracted to children, and that should be recognized. No!
Sick.
Recognized in the jail.
Right.
Recognized with a needle.
Recognized with an axe and no fucking anesthetic.
Gotta be kidding me.
I know Jim Caviezel loves Jesus, and that's the only real requirement I have. It was like 4 days. They asked him, they skipped his agents right to him, and he had a really personal experience himself with human trafficking, and we didn't know about it. He jumped right in, and he's one of my best friends today. We're super close and talking all the time, and because he cares deeply.
He does. He was in Passion of the Christ, which was a big box office hit.
Right.
Gives me some faith in humanity.
Yeah.
Queen of Hearts said I went to half of first grade with Jim Caviezel.
Oh, really? Wow.
Get a hold of him. I want him on the show, Queen of Hearts. Can you help me?
Amazing.
That is awesome. He had a real spiritual awakening, and that's why he chooses his parts a certain way.
Yeah, I just found out that the UK release date of this movie is yet to be announced. It hasn't been announced. It's only exclusively in US cinemas right now.
Now, if Jim Caviezel or Tim Ballard had a YouTube channel, they'd be called a tragedy pimp.
Right.
Snazzy said, shit, some places are trying to normalize it. Yeah, they actually have a bill they're trying to get through in California to call it a mental illness and protect this.
Hollywood's in California, right?
Yeah, Holly Weird. Hang on. Snow's got a connection. Jim Carrey went to my school, thought I was kind of special.
Wow.
You are. Use your connections, people.
I went to school with a girl that did a Harvester commercial once. Like a restaurant commercial. And that's about as famous as it got.
I went to school with a girl that became Mrs. Oklahoma, not Miss Oklahoma. And then she got caught in a hotel room with a politician in Tulsa and lost her crown. That's my claim to fame.
Wow.
How long have you been doing this?
12 years now.
How many pedophiles you caught?
288.
How many kids you found?
Take me back, I guess, to that period of your life. What was going through your heart as this is all unfolding?
There was a strange time during that really decade of working in the government because we were discovering things, and sometimes I felt I was discovering things alone because nobody was talking about human trafficking, and I would tell people these stories of the things I was coming across, and no one believed me, And the most frustrating part for me was, in the U.S. government, early 2000s, we were focused on the end user stuff.
Yeah.
the child exploitation material hitting someone's computer, but you keep asking the question, where are the kids? Where are the kids? Where are the kids? Jim Caviezel says a line in the movie that so represents how I felt, when it's like, this job tears you to pieces, and I need a chance to put those pieces back together.
This job tears you to pieces. And this is my one chance to put those pieces back together.
When God tells you what to do, you cannot hesitate.
And really, it was my wife who, because I could have been convinced that my own family was more important than someone else's, which is not true. But I could have been convinced that I can't afford to quit my job. And ultimately, it came down to a conversation I had with my wife in the second week of December of 2013. I was being, even though I'd had many very, very powerful spiritual experiences, both of us, that we had to do this. We had to quit. We had to pursue these operations.
The reporter looks like Damon Wayans. Does he look like Damon Wayans to you guys? And think about what Tim is saying. I could have been easily convinced that don't risk your life, don't worry about other people's families. But his wife stood behind him and said, go for it. You have to do this. And Snazzy, thank you for the super sticker. She said, we put dogs down for hurting children. I say DP for humans that do it also.
Absolutely.
Me too. Look at the state of Florida. They're saying those people cannot be rehabilitated. They got to go down. They're going to go to hell where they belong. That's it.
Yeah.
There is no reforming. There's none. I can't imagine how you could make amends with God Almighty or his son Jesus. And I don't mean, that's obviously above my pay grade. That's for the people that, created the universe. But they can't be reformed on this earth. They cannot. And they're not safe in society, because if that's their proclivity, that's why I got so damn mad when Candace Harer's brother was let out of jail.
Yeah.
He is a violent pedo. Violent. And within days, he was caught whacking off outside of a McDonald's playground. They cannot be reformed.
There's no change in sickness like that, and it's not a curable sickness.
No. Nasty. Look at Josh Duggar. He had Kleenex and a bottle of lotion next to his computer as he was watching Daisy's Delight. Don't even try to look it up because it's horrible. At the car lot. And Homeland Security grabbed him.
And I was so scared because I just come across these stats, and one of them was 5% of nonprofits don't make it through the first year. Less than 3% make it through the second year. And you compare that to a federal job, which is secure for your life.
Yeah.
And I was freaking out, and my wife had to remind me, and she did it in a very powerful way. And she grabbed me by the collars and she said, I will not let you jeopardize my salvation, she said, by not doing this.
Wow.
And it was just like,
for Homeland Security, we can't go off rescuing Honduran kids in Colombia.
Which means she'll disappear for good. Imagine walking into a room right now, seeing an empty bed. What we do?
You quit your job and you go and rescue those kids.
When she said that, that's when I really put it into perspective. You're right. Why are we here on this earth? Like, we're not here just to have fun or just live a life of ease and luxury or something. And she followed up that little warning statement with, and if we end up living in tents because we have to sell our house, I don't care, because I'm more worried about my meeting with my maker. And so that was my wife's, lesson to me. And I was like, you're right. So I leaned on her until I figured out my own faith. And then we jumped in.
Hey! That would honestly be something I would do to Greg.
Yeah.
Go ahead and quit your job. I'm going to stay here in the comfy bed with the cat. You go to Honduras and rescue the kids, and then I'm going to write a book about it later. I'm on your side, buddy. I'm here for you because I want to meet my maker and tell him I sent my husband out to do this. Thank you for becoming a new YouTube member, Red's Paradise. Check out the community tab every day or when you get time. We have a lot of members lives. We're probably going to have a members live tomorrow, actually, because I want to go through more about this Sounds of Freedom.
Since leaving his Homeland Security job, Ballard's Operation Underground Railroad organization has rescued at least 6,000 children from modern-day slavery. He and his wife have even adopted 2 of them, growing their family of 7 to a family of 9.
God prospered us in the end, and as dark as the world got, I recognized for the first time being outside the government that there's a little light too that comes.
Ephraim Graham, CBN News, Orlando, Florida.
And amazing because they adopted some of the children that were rescued.
I wonder
Talk about doing God's work. Talk about putting your money, putting your money where your mouth is. I don't suggest everybody go to Honduras and try this. He's obviously trained through Homeland Security and military.
I do wonder what happened to their parents. I presume that maybe their parents aren't alive anymore or something, but I don't know. I can't help thinking that unless they were sold by their parents, well, their parents are thinking what happened to their children.
Some of the children were sold by their parents.
Yeah.
Some of the children were in like foster cares.
Right.
And sold by the foster families.
Wow.
Some went into gangs, and then the gangs sold them. It's a bad situation.
Yeah.
But I'm going to put a members live together tomorrow and try to get my husband to co-host with me, because I really think this is a very important movie and a very important movement that really needs to be looked at. I think about the case of Michael Vaughn along with Madalina.
Yeah.
Because I believe that there is a trafficking situation there with Wandra's and Brandon and Caesar and Adrian and others.
Yeah. And others as yet unnamed.
And others, unnamed. Although there are some channels that still want to rip on Tyler and Brandy. They're not seeing the forest for the trees.
Yeah.
And it's sick.
Sure.
Do you want to be do you want to do good work, or do you want to be Satan's secretary and take up for wrong? I don't get it.
No, I don't either.
You said it best right there. Satan's secretary.
Thank you. Thank you, Greg. How are you doing over there in the chair? Are you solving?
I'm putting out shit.
You're okay. Thank you, hon. All right, guys. Well, this has been a great show, and I am so happy we got to chat with Kat.
I was so happy to come on and chat with you. It was amazing. Thank you, Britt.
And I'm so glad you're going to have some time off and you get to spend more time with us. We have a lot of stuff to catch up on, my friend.
Me too. I'm glad about it too. Woohoo!
Woohoo! Kat is off for the summer. Thank goodness. So what case are you following the heaviest?
Mostly at the moment looking at the Sarah Boone case. Not that I think there's any discussion to be had there. I think we all basically know what happened. This case and Monkey for sure.
I'm putting a show together for Monkey next week as well. I don't know. I've got notes all over the place. If anything ever happens to me and the FBI comes in here, I don't know where to start. Between Google searches, all my friends, and the notes everywhere, they're going to be like,
They do the same with my Google searches, to be fair.
I don't know what could even be going on here.
It's nice to catch up with you, and I'll see you in Discord.
See you in Discord, and you guys
Okay.
have a great day. Thank you so much.
I love you, Kat.
Love you too, Greg.
Thank
Love you too,
Greg.
Brooks.
Thank
Bye,
you
guys.
so much for being here today for
You're so
Madalina.
welcome.
And I will see you back here tomorrow.
Okie dokie.
For a members live about Sound of Freedom. Dolores says, word phrase of the day should be Satan's secretary. You got that right. That's the word of the day. We can use that instead of worthless bitches. I don't know. I think we can use both. All right. I'll see you guys back here tomorrow. Thank you so much for everything. Keep Madalina's picture out there. Keep sharing, sharing, sharing. She's out there somewhere.